Hey, 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 happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at the Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief. So tonight is Tuesday, January 7th, 2020. This is episode 419 of the Daily Dope. So if this is the first time you've decided to catch the show, let me point out this is very, very casual. It's really discussing the latest tabletop gaming news. Sometimes we talk a little bit about pop culture stuff. Every once in a while, I kind of go off on a little tangent. Like I did yesterday. I don't do that too often, but we kind of tackled a topic that I thought was a little interesting yesterday. Anyway, it is a live stream. It's not rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination, so everybody plays it pretty mellow around here. Because this is a live stream, chat is available. It is not on screen, but I do pay attention to chat. So if you'd like to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question or a comment, by all means, chime in and I will do my best to respond. Every once in a while, sometimes the chat's zipping by pretty quick, and I do miss some things. But I do try to stay involved in the chat. So, of course, if you like this video, please give it a quick thumbs up. By all means, subscribe to the channel. If you do, don't forget, ring that little bell, because it will not only notify you when the stream goes live, within about a minute or so, it'll also tell you when I upload my standalone videos, of which there will be one later on this evening. So, yes, I will talk about that in just a little bit. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And be sure to tell a friend, tell two friends, tell them to tell two friends, and so on and so on and so on. So let's see what we got going on here. We've got a Gray Days in chat, John Vogel, the Madman, Glowing Turtle is joining us. I believe Glowing Turtle's joined us a few times, but it's been a little while, I think. And welcome, everybody. Good Tuesday evening to everyone. So, got a good amount of tabletop gaming news tonight. Some interesting items as well from a variety of genres. So, without further ado, let's jump on in because there is a fun-looking game coming from Letiman Games. It's arriving at the end of this month. I've got a lot of news about stuff hitting this month, specifically January 29th. I've got news today and tomorrow. So people's wallets and purses and pocketbooks are going to be kind of empty at the end of the month. All the good stuff coming out. One of those games is called Squire for Hire, and I've got the Dope. Your day has finally come. A famous adventurer has hired you, yes, you, to be their squire. When your hero completes quests, defeats baddies, and takes all the credit, they also earn loot, which you get the great honor of carrying. Squire for Hire is an 18-card tile-laying inventory management game for 1 to 2 players that takes about 15 to 20 minutes to play. Players compete to get the highest scoring bag of items for their hero by the end of all the story deck. Each player takes on the role of a random squire card, taking turns completing story cards and adding loot to their bag for points. You can complete story cards one of 2 ways: by having enough item value, the combined number of spaces an item type takes up in your bag, or 2, using an item, covering up an item in your bag with a new loot card. If you can complete a story card, you get to pick one of 2 loot cards to add to your bag. To add loot cards to your bag, at least one full item must be placed within empty or full squares. You can cover any number of other items in your bag as long as the entire item is covered. Once all story cards have been exhausted, players add up their scores. You get to add 1 point for every regular item, 1 point for each pair of identical items side by side, and extra points for conditions met on your square card. Visible junk items. Damn that junk. Damn you, junk. Visible junk items reduce your score by 1 point each, so cover them up whenever possible. Cover up that junk. Keep vital items in your bag for when you need them. Pack efficiently, for extra points, and eliminate junk to be the squire with the highest scoring bag. Play solo to beat your own high score with all of the cards. As mentioned prior, a squire for hire. That's kind of funny. As mentioned prior, I just threw that in there. Squire for hire is for 1 or 2 players, ages 12 and up, plays in 15 to 20 minutes, and will carry an MSRP of $9. And when it arrives on January 29th. Could be a fun little game. It's $9. Come on. Kind of interesting little concept. You're laying these different tiles with the gear, and you're trying to have, I guess, as much gear as you can get into your bag without covering up good stuff and not covering up junk. So yeah, this could be kind of funny. Could be kind of cool. For, like I said, for $9, I think you'd be hard pressed to go wrong with this game. So Flaming Heron has arrived in chat. Good to see you, Flaming Heron. So another title that's coming out on, you guessed it, January 29th, is an update on a real classic. I've got the dope on Egizia Shifting Sands from Stronghold Games. Egizia Shifting Sands is an updated version of the beloved strategy game, you guessed it, Egizia. Players travel down the Nile, placing boats as they go to collect resources that will help them construct some of Egypt's most famous monuments. With new monuments to build, new cards to collect, and a constantly shifting river, Egizia Shifting Sands Edition is a streamlined modern update that both longtime fans and new players can easily pick up and enjoy. In Egizia, players must place their pawns following the course of the Nile, moving northwards. In this way, each placement not only blocks the opponents from choosing the same square, except monuments where multiple players are always allowed, but also forces the player to place their remaining pawns only on the squares below the one they just occupied. When the placement phase is over, the workers of the players, which are separate from the pawns, must be fed with the grain produced in the fields. The production of each field is based on the floods of the Nile, so some fields may not give grain each turn. If a player doesn't have enough grain for all their workers, they must buy it with victory points. After that, stones are received from the owned quarries and used to build the monuments, if the right to do so was reserved earlier, along with the workers. In this new edition, players each get a chance to build across the colonnade, a new monument. The more columns you build, the better powers you unlock to help you on the river. Perhaps once per turn, you can place boats on occupied river spaces or upstream, or gain an extra point each time you place bricks in monuments. With randomized rewards from game to game, the colonnade is a dynamic new monument to shake up traditional gameplay. Below the colonnade, where the graves once stood, lie the mysterious statues, a new monument unlike anything else in Egizia. These tiny build sites are cheaper than any other monument, but they hold the potential for high reward if you fulfill their requirements. Players must plan early, as they can place only one brick in a statue per round, and each level they build has more strenuous requirements for endgame bonuses. Egizia Shifting Sands keeps all the painstaking risk-reward decisions of the original Egizia and adds new depths of strategy, balance, and gameplay for a fresh twist on a timeless classic. This game is for 2 to 4 players ages 14 and up, plays in around 90 minutes, and it will carry an MSRP of $49.95 when it arrives in stores from Stronghold Games on January 29th. I have reached out to Steven and Kira to see if I can get a copy of Egizia Shifting Sands. If I remember correctly, and I may not be remembering correctly, but if I do remember correctly, I think the original Egizia was the first Euro game I played with my best friend Elliot Miller. Because I had come back, this is probably 11, 12 years ago. So I was back in Chicago visiting, and we got together, and he said, come on, let's play some games. And I said, yeah, sure. You know, I still played war games, and then of course I was playing PC games, and I was always up on RPGs and stuff. But I hadn't really followed a lot of board games, and it was one of the games that we had played, and he smoked my ass like a cheap cigar. He did. He has a way of beating me in Euro games pretty soundly, and for some strange reason, if it's not a Euro, I usually can take him down. I don't know what it is. All right, so Dan from No Enemies here is in chat. Kabuki Kid's in chat. So Kabuki Kid says that they actually playtested the new version of this a couple years back. Yeah, looks interesting. Interesting. Wait a second, John Vogel said he lost his video? So let's see. The Madman says no. Everything looks fine to them. Flaming Huron's lost video. Oh, okay, wait, no. They're saying it's fine. Okay. All right. Oh, all right. John says they restarted their system and everything's okay. Every once in a while, you do know something weird happens. Sometimes the audio's like not right. Sometimes we get some drop frames. Although the drop frames only affect you watching live. It's really weird. So I've seen drop frames as long as we don't drop the stream. The actual finished video looks fine. So all right, good to know everything's good. According to Dan, it's the Illuminati messing around. I bet you it's the Bavarian Illuminati. Got to make sure we give the right Illuminati credit. So, Fnord. Ah, yes. The good old Illuminati books. I have never been able to read that trilogy. I have started. I have owned it. Just, I don't know. I get about 100 pages in and it's just too weirdly hippified for me. I don't know. I don't know. Just very, very strange. Yeah, Steve Jackson's getting back at me. I don't know why. I don't know why he'd be getting back at me. It's, it's like I try to ignore them. Hey, I throw them a bone every once in a while and share their news. And they've never given me anything except a hard time. So there. All right, moving right along. I got a Kickstarter I'm going to share with you. I'm on the fence about this one, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But I got to say, it looks interesting. It's kind of a mashup dexterity quarter style role-playing hybrid game. No joke. It's up for crowdfunding on Kickstarter from neighbors of mine, Forbidden Games. Yes, they're actually over in Plainfield, Illinois, which is right next to me. Anyway, I've got the dope on Dungeon Party. Dungeon Party is a quick-play fantasy role-playing game played with coasters and a coin. Dungeon Party is easy to learn, playable in a short time, or extended if that is desirable. Has all the aspects of a classic RPG adventure, and is playable in a bar, restaurant, or at home. The combat mechanic is fun and adds an element of luck and skill without much complexity. The game system is infinitely expandable. Players will assemble a dungeon by creating a stack of coasters that include rooms, monsters, and treasures. Then, they adventure through the dungeon by battling through each room, defeating the monsters and looting the treasure. Along the way, they may pick up magical treasures or spells that can help them in their quest. If they survive the dungeon, the player with the most treasure points wins. If they do not, the dungeon wins. But either way, there will be laughs, and maybe even a drink or two. So, there is a little more than 2-minute video that's been put together by Forbidden Games for Dungeon Party. So let's check it out.
Forbidden Games co-founder Jason Kapalka is also the owner of the Stormcrow chain of nerd bars.
Stormcrow patrons, who tend to enjoy nerdy pursuits as a rule, were excited to play D&D in their favorite bar. But in practice, there were often problems. Dice going everywhere, beer spilling on books and character sheets, and some players getting a bit distracted. So what would start as an epic adventure often ended up as a game of quarters, that old party standard. But then we had an idea. Well, two ideas. What if you could transform a complicated RPG into a fast, fun party game? And what if you could add role-playing elements to a simple party game like Quarters? And so Dungeon Party was born. Co-created with award-winning designer Glenn Drover, the goal of the game is familiar to anyone who's ever played Dungeons & Dragons. Get to the bottom of the labyrinth and kill the boss monster. And the mechanics are familiar to anyone who's ever played Quarters. Bounce your coin onto a coaster. Players pick one of a dozen coasters to represent their characters, from elf magic users to human barbarians, each with their own stats and special abilities. To explore the dungeon, you flip up a room coaster and a monster coaster. The room modifies the upcoming combat with special rules for players. For instance, in a dark chamber, you might have to toss your coin with your eyes closed. Good luck. To battle a monster, you bounce the coin onto its coaster. If you hit the monster, it takes damage. If you miss, the player takes damage instead. Many monsters have their own special powers, such as regeneration, fire breath, or the ability to force you to stand on one foot while tossing your coin. Play continues around the table until the monster is dead, or all players have been eliminated. If you defeat the monster, the player who vanquished it collects a treasure. Some have magical powers, and whoever has the most valuable collection at the end of the game is the winner, assuming you survive at all. It's the perfect party game for a nerd bar, and now we want to bring it to the whole world via Kickstarter.
Dungeon Party is for 2 to 8 players, ages 8 and up, and plays in around 30 to 60 minutes. The Kickstarter is right about 300% funded. It was just about the 300% when I wrote up my news earlier this afternoon. You can reserve a copy of the base game that does not include any stretch goals for a $19 pledge, or go all in and get everything, including stretch goals, for a $59 pledge. The expected delivery is September of 2020. So let's see. So Kabuki Kid mentioned it, says, yeah, this looks pretty wacky. So it says, yeah. So Fleming here says, yeah, tall tables and throwing stuff doesn't seem troublesome. We have people rolling dice while sitting down and losing them on the floor. Okay, so here's a few different things that strike me as a bit odd about this. So of course, in the video, they're in a bar. Okay, first of all, very, very few people play Dungeons & Dragons in a bar. Very, very few. I don't know anyone personally, myself, who does it. I do know, of course, people who play board games. I've done that. Role-playing games, different. It's a different thing. People find that in a bar to be really weird. Board games and that, not so much. I've done that many, many times. So I think that's kind of weird. And of course, they make it like, it's like, what are they, spastic? What are they, a bunch of spazzes? Throwing dice all over the place, knocking drinks all over the place, things like that. What are they, a bunch of drunks? Already, snockered before they start playing. So of course, I thought that was kind of weird. The game looks kind of interesting. I used to be great at quarters, so I'm not complaining about that. It looks like it could be interesting, but they're also saying it's for ages 8 and up. So I'm going to take a guess. They're probably losing a little bit of backing because they're hedging their bets a little too much, right? It's either a drinking game or it's a game that anybody can play. And oh, hey, by the way, you can have fun, maybe throwing back a couple of adult beverages while you're playing. So other thing I think is a little odd is it's effectively a bunch of coasters. And I believe in the Kickstarter, they've got some coins that are part of the stretch goals and things like that. A game that is essentially just a bunch of coasters for $59 pledge. I don't know. I think Plus, I think the $19 pledge that doesn't include any stretch goals is kind of odd. We're not used to seeing Kickstarters where it's presented as, oh, well, you pay this price, but you're not going to get any of the stretch goals. Don't normally see that. The rest of it, I mean, it looks like it could be cool, could be fine, could be, as Kabuki Kid says, could be pretty wacky, could be a lot of fun. I mean, sort of game that I might like to, kick back, knock a few back and play. So I wanted to share this, but I can't say that I'm like wholehearted behind this because it just seems a little bit off. Anyway, this is not arriving on January 29th, though. Like just about anything else I'm talking about here. Yes, I did notice that too, Double K. Yes, but they're using Cthulhu on the cover. Right, exactly. So I noticed that too. I thought that was kind of a nice little homage to the player's handbook, I should say, cover. Anyway, moving right along. As I mentioned, those wallets, those pocketbooks, those purses are going to be fairly empty after January 29th because here's some more gaming goodness that's arriving on that day. It is Zona Alpha, Salvage and Survival in the Exclusion Zone. It is from Osprey Games. Here's a little bit of dope. Explore, salvage, and survive inside the Exclusion Zone in this near-future Eastern European-themed skirmish wargame. Zona Alpha is a set of simple, fast-paced skirmish rules for scavenging, exploring, and surviving in a near-future post-apocalyptic Eastern European setting. Players take on the role of bandits, mercenaries, and military units, fighting over the blasted Exclusion Zone. I need a sip here. They're fighting over the blasted Exclusion Zone and its abandoned artifacts. Customize your fighters with a variety of weapons and specialisms to create your ideal warband. Specialisms? No, I'm not familiar with that word. With extended rules for campaigns, character progression, terrain, and environmental hazards, Zona Alpha contains all the tools required to engage in blistering firefights within the Exclusion Zone. Up next on the Exclusion Zone. This softcover book will carry an MSRP of $20 when it arrives on January 29th. So kind of cool. I would have liked to have been able to share some more info, maybe some more images of Zona Alpha. I did find a bunch of photos of miniatures and things like that. I'm not sure if they're in the book or not, or if these are just images from people having been play testing the game. So I did not want to share some images. I never want to step on people's toes by using their photography if it is not coming from the publisher themselves or the game designer. So anyway, another new release from Osprey Games. It's another skirmish level miniatures game. Could be kind of cool. All right, arriving in July from Paizo Inc. Yes, I've had a lot of Paizo news lately, and there's more news on the way from them too. Anyway, arriving in July is the Pathfinder 2nd Edition Advanced Player Guide. And I've got the dope. Ready to go beyond the basics? Expand the limits of what's possible with the Pathfinder Advanced Player's Guide. This 272-page Pathfinder 2nd Edition rulebook contains exciting new rules options for player characters, adding even more depth of choice to your Pathfinder games. Inside, you'll find brand new ancestries, heritages, and 4 new classes: the Shrewd Investigator, the Mysterious Oracle, the Daring Swashbuckler, and the Hex-Slinging Witch. The must-have Advanced Player's Guide also includes exciting new options for all your favorite core rulebook classes and tons of new backgrounds, general feats, spells, items, and 40 flexible archetypes to customize your play experience even further. The Pathfinder Advanced Player's Guide includes those 4 new classes: the Investigator, Oracle, Swashbuckler, and Witch. 5 new ancestries and 5 heritages for any ancestry: Celestial Azamars, Curious Catfolk, Hagspawn Changelings, Vampiric Damphirs, Fate-touched dusk walkers, scaled kobolds, fierce orcs, fiendish tieflings, industrious rat folk, and feathered tengu. 40 new archetypes, including multi-class archetypes for the 4 new classes, Pathfinder favorites like the Cavalier, Dragon Disciple, Shadow Dancer, and Vigilante, and brand new archetypes like the Familiar Master and Shield-bearing Iron Wall. Jeez. Yep, we brought the Iron Wall with us. I'm playing an Iron Wall. That's my character. I'm just this wall. It moves around. New class options for all 12 classes from the Pathfinder core rulebook, including Champions of Evil, Genie and Shadow Sorcerers, Zen Archer Monks, Rogue Masterminds, Spellcasting Rangers, and more. There's even more exciting new rules, from rare and unique backgrounds to investigative skill feats, from spells and rituals like Reincarnate and Create Demiplane, to new items including special wands with unusual effects and exciting potions worthy of a witch's cauldron. The 272-page hardcover will carry an MSRP of $49.99 when it hits stores in late July. Sweet. I say it time and time again. I like what Paizo did with 2nd edition Pathfinder. I don't know if we're going to see more review stuff from them, though. I don't know. We got the core book, we got the bestiary, we got the adventure card game and the first adventure path for it. And I've gone back and forth with their PR person, and I don't know. I have no idea. Have no clue. But still, I do like what they're doing with Pathfinder. Although we did have that discussion yesterday about the pricing of role-playing games keeping people out of the hobby, which we talked about how that's a bunch of baloney. If you are a Pathfinder fan and you are somebody who's has to be a completionist, it can get pretty damn pricey. It certainly can. Anyway, so Joe Besserfan is in chat with us again. So talking about fading out on Kickstarter. Yeah, I'm not, I don't share tons and tons of Kickstarter stuff because I'm sort of, I can't say that I'm exactly a huge fan of Kickstarter myself, seeing that there have been so many different projects that have been funded that never came to fruition. There you go, the Rambo game. Was the Rambo game from River Horse? I'm trying to remember if that's a River Horse title. Because River Horse is always doing Kickstarters for stuff. And I always get info to share the news. I never do because I have not heard good things about their games. And for some strange reason, I thought Rambo was them. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea. So a great day is talking about that FFG just got rid of their RPG team and their interactive team. Well, the interactive team, that might be being taken over by the team that just does all the Asmodee interactive stuff, because I do get some contact from them talking about their digital stuff, so that's a possibility. I did not know that they got rid of the role-playing game team. That's interesting. Because you figure Star Wars, what's going on with that then? Genesis, I don't think that would be a big deal. I don't think, it's just basically a generic role-playing system that's based on the system they use for Star Wars. But that's pretty interesting. Kind of weird. I'll have to look into that. See what happened. Don't know. I got some contacts. Well, I should say not really with FFG, but I have some people who are usually in the know about stuff going on at Fantasy Flight. So I will take a look and see what is going on there. All right. Jeez. Joe Besserpad says Stallone will make another sequel before they ever see that Rambo game. Who is the Rambo game from? Joe, let me know. Because I know what you're talking about, and it was something that I did not... I remember I didn't share news of it because it just didn't look great. I don't know. Sometimes I see some Kickstarters where I'm sort of like, it's just red flags will pop up and I'll be, nah, I don't want to share that. Because if I share news about it and it doesn't fund, or I should say when it funds and then nobody, like crickets suddenly, nobody ever gets it, then people bitch at me. And then like, all I did was share news. I'm like, I had nothing to do with it. Everything epic. Well, I guess everything isn't epic, huh? So a Grey Day says, the info is on Reddit by some of the ex-team members. All right, cool. Thanks, Grey Day. I will check that out a little later on tonight, and maybe we'll chat about that on tomorrow's show. Okay, so let's jump back on into the news here, because there we go. I thought that's where we were at. Currently burning up the Dungeon Masters Guild is the Monster Manual Expanded for 5th edition, and I've got a wee bit of dope from its author, Dragonix. Monster Manual Expanded is a 321-page source of content that supplements the Monster Manual. It aims to provide dungeon masters more options and flexibility in designing adventures and dressing up their dungeons with a wider variety of creatures and characters that are based on the Monster Manual. Finally, it also adds variants that provide a nostalgic and classic feel that dungeon masters experienced with the older editions are probably familiar with. In total, there are over 470 creature stat blocks in this book at the Dungeon Master's disposal. This 312-page PDF is available at the Dungeon Masters Guild. It is available for $19.99, and this really looks pretty good. It is one of the mithril sellers, so it is a big seller for Dungeon Masters Guild. So there's also a second volume to this that has arrived on the scene. Might share some news about that in the next few days. But I thought this looks pretty nice. And it's a 312-page PDF for $19.99. Pretty sweet. Not too shabby. All right, my last news piece. If you've been awaiting word on the 2D20 Fallout role-playing game from Modiphius Entertainment, then you'll be excited to know that closed beta testing is about to begin, and you've got a chance to get on board. Here's the dope. Modiphius Entertainment is excited to announce that the closed beta signups for the Fallout 2D20 RPG are now live. The closed beta will allow you and your group to playtest the upcoming official Fallout 2D20 RPG and have your feedback implemented within its design. Deadlines for signups finish on the 13th of January at midnight. Please note, not everyone who signs up will receive a playtest spot, and playtesting will be dependent on you signing a non-disclosure agreement. Thanks, and we look forward to having you on board as a playtester. So, do want to point out that this came from an email that was sent directly to me from Modiphius. So they were inviting me, I believe they were personally inviting me to sign up so I can check out the playtest stuff. So it is a specific link to, I got to be honest, I'm not positive if you just go to modiphius.com, if there's a link there. Now, I am not, by sharing this news that you can sign up for the closed beta, I am not breaking any rules because Modiphius did tweet about this sign up earlier today as well. So they were inviting people on Twitter. So what I'm going to do is later on tonight, you will see all of the news pieces that I've covered posted as news items on the Gaming Gang website. I will have the exact link for you to go to sign up for the closed beta. Pretty cool. I know a lot of people have been really looking forward to the 2D20 Fallout RPG. I'm wondering myself how this is going to turn out. Because personally, I think Star Trek Adventures, they did a really, really nice job on. Also, Conan Adventures in an Age Undreamed Of, which is such a mouthful for a title for a game, I think is really, really nicely done as well. So I think they could do something really special with Fallout, depending on how much leeway, how much leash, I guess I'll say, Bethesda gives them to play around in that world. So, all right, so let's see what we got cooking. So Kabuki Kid says FFG lost their mojo in the past couple of years. Not that they are putting out only crap, but I used to love almost anything they put out. It has been so long since I've actually played anything from Fantasy Flight Games, just because they were so difficult to get anything as far as review copies from. And Anton Torres, who I think is still involved with FFG, he was their PR person for quite a while, and then he got moved up. Used to talk to him, interview him all the time, and it was just impossible to get Fantasy Flight Games review stuff. And this is back when we were super, super popular. So, yes, the Gaming Gang site is still fairly popular, but I mean, there was a time that we were, I don't want to say twice as much traffic, but we got probably about 60% more traffic than we do now. And it was because it was Elliot, myself, and we had some other people too. Now it's predominantly myself, and I've got some correspondents like Sammy, who I just posted a review of hers yesterday. So she's got a new review up as well. So, all right. So, yeah, so great. They say it. Yeah, believe me, they're paying for those licenses. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Great Ace says, speaking of traffic, hit the thumbs up, guys. It's not all guys, remember. That's why I say gang usually. So, Flaming Heron mentions that they noticed that the Fallout closed beta, because I actually retweeted the info that I saw, because I don't know how many slots they're going to have. I don't know. I honestly don't. It's not open. We know it's not an open playtest like we've seen with Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder. This is a closed playtest. So I'm kind of questioning that. Yes, right, there you go. Guys and Dolls. There we go. Get an old throwback. All right, so I should point out, if you have not checked out some of the recent videos I've uploaded, I have put up an unboxing and first look at Cataphract from GMT Games. This is an ancient Roman game. It actually has another game included with it as well, Justinian, which is kind of a almost like an area control strategy game from the looks of it. So kind of an unusual unboxing, because there's actually one of the battle maps is almost like all ocean, and somebody commented saying that, yeah, it's too bad you can't actually play that battle because it's for some other game. And I'm kind of like, I don't know why it's on there then. Then, of course, I did unbox and take a first look at Volko Ruhnke's newest game, Nevsky. So I am actually already in the midst of reading I think they call it a background book, if I remember correctly. It's not a playbook for this one here. So, very, very cool. Yes, sounds like an eye condition. Yes. Yes, my cataphracts. Everything's all foggy. And tonight, I will roll out my unboxing and first look at 1862, which is an 18XX railroad game. This is an edition. It was previously released by another company. GMT has put out kind of a more deluxe edition. In fact, I want to say it's the same game system as, what was it? 1874 or something like that? It was another railroad game that had a year to it that we played. It was actually pretty good. It was actually pretty interesting. So it looks very, very similar. I no longer have that game, so I couldn't take a peek to see if that's what that was. All right, so... All right, that is it for tonight's show. I don't see anything else bouncing around here in chat. I will actually take a look at Reddit later on to see what I might be able to find out about... oh, yeah, there you go. Kabuki Kid saying, yep, it's basically the same system. So, yeah, I will check out what's going on with FFG. So that would be really unusual. Because I would wonder, if they got rid of all their role-playing game folks, what's going on with Star Wars? I've never played it. I've actually never even looked at the books. One of the reasons is because they don't allow them to be printed, or I shouldn't say printed. They're not allowed to be available digitally as PDFs. So I have not had an opportunity to take a peek. But I've always heard it's a pretty good system. I heard it's pretty good. So, I don't know. Yeah, so like Double K says, they can't abandon Star Wars. It's popular. I know. I have no idea. Almost, it's along the lines of when, not as big a deal, but if FFG loses Star Wars as a license for role-playing games. But when, Ulysses North America was doing the role-playing game for Warhammer 40K, Wrath and Glory, released a few things, and boom, that was it. It was like, Games Workshop, I guess, was not happy, and they were like, that's it, we're done. He's going to Cubicle 7, so now should see that soon. We'll see it this year from Cubicle 7, and all they're doing is kind of cleaning stuff up. But the funny thing is, Ulysses is still going to publish it in German. So they just lost the rights to produce it. So anyway, all right. Anyway, as Flaming Heron points out, yeah, they introduced some new systems. They just had a new source book coming out for Genesis, which is based on Keyforge. I thought that was either just coming out or it's on its way. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what's cooking. Maybe we'll talk about that on tomorrow's show. All right, so that's it for this time out. Of course, as I like to point out, if you like the video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. If you do, don't forget, ring that little bell. It'll not only tell you when the Daily Dope goes live, within about a minute or so, it'll tell you when I upload some of my standalone videos, like the one I'm going to pop up there tonight. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Of course, everybody who joined me in chat, thank you so much. I always appreciate being able to talk, bang things around, see what's going on. Dan actually got to hang out for the whole show. That's pretty cool. Yes, I saw that, Dan. I don't know, one of these days you may see me at a convention. Try going to Origins, dude. Anyway, okay, here you go. Double K says, news is spreading that FFG Interactive is going to close in February after an unspecified number of employees were laid off. Just saw that online. All right, well, now I know what I'm going to be digging up. Anyway, once again, if you watched live, thank you so much for keeping me company in chat. And of course, whenever you watch, and even if you watch on Memorex, it's okay. I appreciate that too. I have a soft spot for all the viewers out there. And of course, I will be back tomorrow, so everybody enjoy your Tuesday night. And until Hump Day, happy trails. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.